Shalom to the elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hope for the elect over the entire planet. And shalom to the Akwa for all listening and learning. I'm Isaiah, coming at you another lesson in truth, fact, faith, and edification. And this is just an update on North America, Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, and the economic collapse and the crash of the dollar. So Lord's willing, be edifying. This is one of your top economists, Peter Schiff, bringing out facts that your local news and CNN is not going to tell you.
Economy. And so the Fed should come to our aid by offsetting that, right? In fact, even when the Chinese announced tariffs, I think Trump came out and said, okay, Fed, now it's your turn. A tweet like, okay, the Fed should now act and cut rates or do QE as firing our big guns in this war, as if two wrongs make a right. It's not up to the Fed to try to insulate the economy from the bad decisions that our leaders are making, right? If the government wants to run big deficits, then the Fed needs to let interest rates go up so that the public understands the cost of those big deficits, and therefore they'll be against them. If people don't think there's a cost, if they really believe there's a free lunch, we can borrow as much money as we want, we can print as much money as we want, and there's no consequences, then how do you put a stop to it? But if the Fed allows people to feel the negative consequences of the big deficits, then there'll be some political pressure on politicians to do something about it. But as long as the Fed lets them off the hook, then there is no pressure to do anything about it. The same thing with trade. If we are making stupid decisions and imposing tariffs and inciting a trade war, it's not up to the Fed to try to minimize the impact of those bad decisions. Let those bad decisions sink in so that the voters will then put pressure on politicians to reverse the policy. But of course, it's not going to help, right? If the Fed does exactly what Trump wants, and of course, eventually they will do exactly what Trump wants. They are going to cut interest rates back to zero. They are going to do quantitative easing, but it isn't going to help the economy. It is going to hurt the economy, right? We are going to see more downward pressure on the dollar finally, and we're going to see upward pressure on consumer prices. In fact, look at Mark Carney today. Mark Carney, Governor of the Bank of England, today in a speech said that the world needs to replace the dollar as the reserve currency. This is big. This is the head of the Bank of England. Right now, when he was thinking about what should replace the dollar, he said maybe some type of Libra-esque, currency, right? A cryptocurrency or some type of instrument that's backed by a basket of other currencies. I mean, that's not going to work. I mean, if you want to get rid of the dollar as the reserve currency, just have the integrity to say, go back to a gold standard. That's what works. If you don't want the dollar for all the obvious reasons, then the euro isn't good, the yen isn't good, the renminbi isn't good, some basket of those currencies isn't going to work. There's only one thing that will work, and that's gold. But of course, the politicians are resisting that till the end, because not only will gold work, but it will impose discipline on governments, which is the last thing politicians want, but it is going to be the best thing for the global economy. But those cries to replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency will grow louder and louder once we go back to zero and go back to quantitative easing. But of course, if you listen to what the Fed guys had to say today at Jackson Hole, including Jerome Powell, there are no problems. There's nothing to worry about, right? The economy is in great shape. In fact, the only thing that people thought was a problem, any of these Fed guys, was low inflation, right? The only problem we have is low inflation. I mean, low inflation is not a problem. I mean, low inflation is good. I mean, even lower would be better. But I mean, how can the United States consider low inflation a problem? Apart from the fact that low inflation is a benefit to consumers, right? Because it helps keep their cost of living down. In fact, no inflation would be even better, and falling prices would be better to prices that rose slightly. But to say the problem is the prices aren't rising fast enough is crazy when you are the world's biggest debtor. Right? America, the United States, owes more money. We have $22.5 trillion in debt, right? The funded debt. And that's just the federal government, not the state governments, the local governments, mortgages, all the money that Americans owe, right? And the reason that interest rates are so low, other than the Fed intervention, is because people are convinced that there's no inflation to worry about, that inflation is going to stay low forever. And so they're not demanding a higher rate of interest to compensate for a higher level of inflation. But if the Fed actually solved the low inflation problem with higher inflation and inflation expectations went up, then interest rates would go way up, especially longer term rates. And that would adversely impact the U.S. economy. I mean, because the U.S. taxpayer is on the hook. What is keeping the cost of servicing this $22.5 trillion national debt so low is the low interest rates. If Dodge, he's trying to dodge.
And which is really over $300 trillion. Okay, it's really over 300 trillion, man.
Trying to pretend that the
So let me go to this.
Landscape in Europe is definitely changing quickly. We saw Boris Johnson taking over Theresa May in the UK, and now Giuseppe Conte, fresh news, who is stepping down as the Prime Minister of Italy. So what will the future hold for the world's largest trading bloc? Joining me now is Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. Gerald, so happy to have you on today.
Well, thanks for having me, of course. Always love being on with you.
Yeah, well, I was happy to have you on since we just got this fresh news that Italy's PM has stepped down, all but surely making way for now Matteo Salvini, seen as being, widely anti-immigration here. So are we going to see more of these protectionist agendas coming out of Europe? Is this the trend?
Oh, absolutely. It's worldwide. One of our top trends for 2019 is human waves. Look what's going on in South America. People leaving, the corruption, the violence, the lack of opportunity, the poverty. Take a trip to Africa, same thing going on. And what people are really missing is how big this really is. Go back up.
Let me show you something real quick. This is a new article from today. It said the next recession will destroy millennials. And it reads, the trade war is dragging on. The yield curve is inverted. Investors are fleeing to safety. Global growth is slowing. The stock market is dipping. The millennials are screwed. It said recessions are never good for anyone. A sputtering economy means miserable financial, emotional, and physical health consequences for everyone from infants to retirees. But the next one, if it happens, when it starts happening, stands to hit this much malignant generation, particularly hard for adults between the ages 22 and 38. After all, the last recession never really ended. So it said millennials got bodied in the downturn, have struggled in the recovery, and are now left more vulnerable than other old age cohorts. As they pitch toward middle age, they are failing to make it to the middle class and are likely to be the first generation in modern economic history to end up worse off than their parents. The next downturn might make sure of it, stalling their careers and sucking away their wages right as the millennials enter their prime earning years. It said it was the last downturn, the once a century Great Depression, that set them on this doddering economic course. The millennials graduated into the worst job market in 80 years. They did not just mean a few years of high unemployment, of course, years living in their parents' basement, it meant a full decade of lost wages. The generation unlucky enough to enter the labor market in a recession suffers significant earning losses that take years and years to rebound. Study shows something that hard data not back up, and it's as of 2014, millennial men were earning no more than Gen X men were when they were the same age, and 10% less than baby boomers, despite the economy being far bigger, and the country far richer. Millennial women were earning less than Gen X women. So this showing you, man, that North America, Babylon the Great, man, is crumbling, man. Okay? It's crumbling, man. Slowly but surely. Okay, the grinding shall cease, man. Can't find a job, but I have to pay more. Hey, it is what it is, man. They say millennials are already in debt and without savings. After the next downturn, they'll be in even bigger trouble. Okay? The next recession will destroy millennials. Hey, so it is what it is, man. Okay? It is what it is, man. Let me run this back.
Landscape in Europe is definitely changing quickly. We saw Boris Johnson taking over Theresa May in the UK, and now Giuseppe Conte, fresh news, who is stepping down as the Prime Minister of Italy. So what will the future hold for the world's largest trading bloc? Joining me now is Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. Gerald, so happy to have you on today.
Well, thanks for having me, of course.
We just got being on with you. Yeah, well, I was happy to have you on since we just got this fresh news that Italy's PM has stepped down, all but surely making way for now Matteo Salvini, seen as being, widely anti-immigration here. So are we going to see more of these protectionist agendas coming out of Europe? Is this the trend?
Oh, absolutely. It's worldwide. One of our top trends for 2019 is human waves. Look what's going on in South America. People leaving, the corruption, the violence, the lack of opportunity, the poverty. Take a trip to Africa, same thing going on. And what people are really missing is how big this really is. Go back 100 years ago. We had about 1.7 billion people on the planet. We've added about 6 billion people in 100 years. So you're going to have waves of migrants and refugees flooding out of their countries, trying to find some place to live a decent life. So it's going to continue to spread, whether it's Italy, the Alternative for Deutschland, the AfD party in Germany, the Austrian party, the Freedom Party, one after another, more and more against people coming in.
And Gerald, what do you think will happen next year? Because, there's going to be major implications. Italy's mountain of public debt just keeps mounting. It has officially become the weakest link for Europe's financial system. 1 year ago, the ECB effectively threatened to boycott Italian debt as part of its QE, sending it plunging. So now that Salvini is all but certainly set to become its next leader and the ECB is set to restart QE, the question is what really happens to Italy here?
Well, again, on Salvini, he may not become the leader because there's also an alliance between Cinque Stelle, the Five-Star Movement, and the Democratic Party there. And they control the majority of the seats. So he's going to have an alliance with the others to call a new election. And there's going to be resistance to it. So it's not sure if he's going to win. And as far as Italy goes, they haven't recovered from the Panic of 2008. They're still way down deep in the depths, and their debt to GDP ratio is the highest among way above the other European countries. So there's no way out. And they're going to increase their debt regardless of what the ECB does. Because if you want to talk about hypocrisy, how about the ECB going to increase their debt? By now, it's estimated that after they meet next month, they're going to lower interest rates from minus 0.4% to minus 0.5% and increase the quantitative easing. They've already wasted nearly, $3 trillion And now they're going to be spending another 56 billion euros a month in quantitative easing. So who are they to point a finger at anybody? The global economy is going down. They're all injecting monetary methadone into it to keep the artificially addicted bull running.
So, Gerald, is this a Eurozone crisis part 2, bigger than perhaps what we saw in 08?
It's a global crisis part 2, bigger than we've seen since the Great Depression of the 1930s.
Well, I know that's what you wrote about in your latest Trends Alert, how the next great or greatest depression, as you call it, is coming. It's anticipated that a recession could hit in the next year or two, but you're saying this will be more than just a recession.
Yes, again, we talked about the human waves. You have people desperately leaving their countries, risking their lives by the tens of millions. You're seeing a debt bubble. The latest figure they gave us about, a year ago was $250 trillion. It's probably about $280 trillion. 30 central banks lowered interest rates this year. You know, I love being on the show with you, and I think you're a great woman. I got a deal for you. I got a 10-year bond, a 20-year bond, and a 30-year bond. And when you cash them in 10, 20, or 30 years, because I like you so much, I'm going to give you less money than what you paid for. You can't make this garbage up. It's one big scam. It's ready to blow apart. It has almost nothing to do with trade wars and tariffs. Look what's going on in India. Then look at their equity markets. Look at the problems that they have. You know what? Let's get the people's mind off this. Let's rip up that deal with Kashmir and take it, and let's nuclear-armed economies. Pakistan's in the toilet, and India's going down quick. Let's start a nuclear confrontation between two nuclear-armed desperate countries. So what I'm saying is this is much bigger than economics.
Right.
It's geopolitical.
But that's interesting. You say it has
It
nothing to do
all
with
come from the
tariffs,
Edomites,
No.
man.
trade wars.
No. Is India not doing well because of trade wars? No. They're overexpanded. They artificially propped up their economy. They just lowered interest rates 4 times in a row.
So-
Indonesia, Argentina. Argentina, boy, they benefited from trade going out. Look at what's going on over there.
So, Gerald,
The trade,
right. Sorry.
you add up the numbers, the official numbers coming out. It affected China's GDP at a rate of 0.6%. That's it, with the tariffs.
So, Gerald, bringing it back to the U.S. data then, and I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say here. So what do you make of the reported good quarterly earnings?
They're moderately good because what happened with them? How about Trump's tax cuts in 2018, which, according to the Tax Policy Center, 83% of it went to the 1%. How about all those stock buybacks? Not only about $1 trillion worth. So, yeah, look at the numbers coming out now. Well, the numbers from Macy's were terrific. How about Home Depot? Oh, they were down. You know, you're seeing some going up, some going down. We're not saying we're going to go into a recession this year. They're going to lower interest rates another couple of times. Probably they only have, by the way, when we hit the last recession, they had 5.5% interest rates. So they could go down that much. Now they only have 2 percentage points left. And when you go around the world, they don't have any. So coming back to the States, they're going to artificially prop up the economy with more cheap money. And cheap money is going to come through lower interest rates. We believe the greatest depression is going to strike after 2020 elections.
So we're speaking ahead of Jackson Hole here, Gerald. So nothing surprising to come out of it?
Nothing.
All right.
And it's just more BS. And by the way, it's very important. Go back to December. It's not ancient history. We had the worst Dow since the Great Depression.
Right.
On Christmas Eve, the night before Christmas, when all through the house, the market's going down. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, calls up 6 banks. Poof! Markets go up 1,000 points within a couple of days. What happened last week? Last Wednesday, Market's down 800 points. Trump gets on the phone, calls the banks. And you know what the BS they shoved down our throats? Well, he was calling them up to find out about whether or not the consumer was in trouble. What a bunch of
So what do
baloney.
you think happens in those conversations, Joe?
It's
Because I
the
was
plunge.
wondering that. So he calls up the banks and says what?
He says, we're in trouble. We got to do something. That's what's going on. Look at the bank stocks going down. So how about a thing called the plunge protection team? You know, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is fact. Whether it's the national team in China, the plunge protection team over here, they're all getting together. They know how bad it is.
All right, Gerald, you know I always have to bring it home to gold somehow. So some analysts have pointed out that in the last recession, gold stagnated at first because investors rushed to the US dollar as a safe haven, which weighed down on gold. How do you see it playing out this time around?
Oh, my forecast, the same one for 6 years. Gold has to break over 1450 solidly to hit 2000. And it's broken over 1450 solidly. Why are people buying negative yield bonds? They're looking for safe haven assets. And that's a lousy deal. So more and more people are going to buy gold. The dollar's only strong because the other currencies are so weak. We're going to have the problems here. So no, the dollar is not going to get gained. The dollar is no longer going to be, to me, the factor that moves gold. It's the global situation. So I'm golden on gold.
Right.
The gold bull run has begun.
But how bullish? Like when you hear talk of 3,000, 4,000, is that crazy for you or a reality?
It's not crazy for me, but I'm only looking right now to the 2,000 plus mark.
All right, Gerald Celente, always good speaking with you.
Always wonderful being on with you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, man, and they got to crash that dollar, which they're doing fast, so they can bring in the RFID microchip, man, because North America is behind all the other nations when it come to digital, man, okay? So that's why they got everything set up with the 5G, right? They got the 5G digital, everything, the infrastructure already set up, man, okay? And they got to crash the dollar, man, because they behind China, Sweden, Paris, Russia, all these countries, man. They is digital. So they going to crash the dollar, man. And what you niggas going to do then, man? Okay? All you that trust in your FRNs, what you going to do then, man? This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him? And they turn a proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? To him that laden himself with thick clay. Okay, that laden yourself with debt, man. That thick clay is debt. Because everything, the bubbles is popping, man. The housing bubble, student loan, the car bubble, okay, the car loan bubble. Everything is busting, man. And you devils, you have been so greedy. You have more than hearts could wish. Like it say, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, he is keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire is hell, and is deaf, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied. But gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And you take what you want, you have taken and taken, and now your kingdom is falling, man. And what you gonna do? You're lying to the people. You're not telling them what's really going on. This is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. You shall no more be called great, the best country in the world, the land of milk and honey. You should no more be called the best. You're going to be called trash. That's what North America is going to be called, man. Trash. Okay? Babylon the Great. Virgin daughter. No, you're going to be called a whore, man. The whore that sits on a scarlet colored beast. Okay? A tramp. A slut. Trash. That's what North America is becoming, man. Okay? The filth of the world, man. What What you say you call the Lady of Kingdoms? No, man. You finna be called the trash of all kingdoms, man. Cause this kingdom is through, man. And it's just a matter of time before they opt out of the dollar and bring in the RFID microchip, man. Because what they doing is, what you people don't understand is, they is creating a way in your eyes to make you seem like there's no other way to crash the dollar to bring in digital, man. And they're doing it smoothly too. Because even Edomites don't understand what they're doing, man. They don't see it. Okay, but these elites, man, they are smart. They are smooth with it, man. They're showing you they're crashing the dollar slowly to make you seem like there was no other way for us to do this but the route that we had to take, right? Problem, reaction, solution, man. They 3-step agenda, man. They create the problem, the people react, and they look for a solution. And the government got a solution. Hey, if we all just create this one world government, one world order, right? One world currency, everything will just flow smooth. And that's what they're going to do, man. Hey, so this is that ball rolling downhill, man. Okay? This is that ball rolling downhill, man. That debt is getting bigger and bigger, man. Hey, that's why what the Lord said in the Lord Prayer, man. Hey, matter of fact, let me get it real quick. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 9, actually verse 10. Now verse 11 say, Matthew 6 and 11, give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Amen. Because guess what? This is you Edomites' debt, man. Because everything's supposed to be free, man. But you devils is so greedy. Now your reward is returned upon your own head, man. Okay? Because you have cast lots for Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and Naphtali, and Issachar, and Ephraim, and Gad, and Reuben, right? You have done all these wicked things to the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, man. Now it's returned upon your own head, man. You have cast lots for the Hebrew Israelites, man. Now the Lord say you have to pay with blood, man. Okay? The cup that we had to drink, you shall drink double, man. Because your sins have reached unto heaven, man. Now it's time to pay. And the Lord say you shall build, but he will throw down. Right? Hey, Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, man. The Lord is throwing down your kingdom, man. Okay? So you might as well get ready and prepare for slavery, my friend. It's slavery, man. Because your economy, your rulership, your throne is no more, man. It's over. It's already over, man. We can see it clearly, man. Okay? The elect, the hopeful elect, the Lord had a spirit on his elect men to see that your kingdom is falling. And what? Hey, by the mouth, hey, he shall consume you with the spirit, man. Okay? With prophecy. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is bringing you Edomites down, and you are falling fast, man. What he said in Luke 10:18, I saw Satan fall as lightning, man. Meaning quick, fast. Your rulership is falling, man. What they said, is this he that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Huh? Is this him? Is this the man? Yeah, it's you Edomites, man. Okay, so Lord willing, we give all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Matter of fact, Bahashim Kakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the occupants, pushing this truth to the four ends of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect. Hey, this is Isaiah 14:5, and it reads, let me start at verse 4. Thou shalt let me start at verse 3. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, we're talking about you Hebrew Israelites, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. And we went through heavy bondage here in North America, man, just like Egypt, okay? That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, which is you Edomites, and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, man. Because this was the land of milk and honey, home of the brave, land of the free, right? Verse 5, the Lord Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, man. Your kingdom is coming down, my friend. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Okay, what you have done to us shall be done to you, my friend. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They breaketh forth into singing. Who breaketh forth? The elect, man. This truth is ringing out, man. Okay, it say, yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedar of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. That word fellow meaning what? Lumberjacks, man, to cut down the trees. So even the trees gonna rejoice at you devils when you go out, when you fall out of rulership, man. Okay? Since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. No fellow has cut down us again. Okay? Never again. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Okay? Because your hell is going to be what? A condition, a judgment, which is going to be what? Chains. Okay? Fetters of iron, man. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. Okay? You elites. What did it say in Psalm 149? Your kings and nobles, man. It have raised up from their throne all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Yeah, even weaker. Because you Edomites going back to what? The basis of men. Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. And the noise of thy vows, the worms is spread under thee, which is corruption, corrosion, and the worms cover thee. Yeah. It's over. It's over, man. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Is this the man, you Edomites, that controlled nations? Huh? Is this you? Yeah, man. Hey, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Hey, so with that, hey, death to you Edomites. May Yahweh Bashim Yahushua bring this place down quickly, man. Okay? Like Yahushua said, I saw Satan fall as lightning, man. Your kingdom is falling, man. Because I'm sick of working for you devils, man. Sick of it. All the arguing, man. We out here pushing the truth. Hey, that's why I say that that he was gonna wear out the saints, man. Okay? Which is all good, because this is part of our judgment, man. But guess what? We love in every moment of your kingdom falling, man. Because that mean what? It's time for Jacob to rise up, man. Okay? Esau is the end of the world, of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of everlasting salvation that followeth, man. Shalom.